Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
It's Mike's Daily Podcast.
episode 2905, 2905, and Mike Matthews here at Café Anyway, somewhere in podCastro Valley.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. If you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Mike's Daily Podcast, you'll see a video of this little broadcast, and it includes a lot of butterflies and strawberries and hearts. Oh wait, I don't see any hearts, but flowers. Oh, it's wonderful. And the wind is blowing. And fish.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Obviously all part of some culture that I have no clue about, because maybe that happened post
Mike's
my childhood
Daily
and teenage years.
Podcast.
And because I'm a dink, disposable income, not kite flying, whatever, that I don't have the kids is what I'm saying, is that sorry Rocky, no offense, you're a cat, but yes, I would probably know about some of these cultures, and that's the fun of being a parent. I listened to a guy today complain about his kids and about how they're using foul language. And, you know, because I am a expert in this field, I am not an expert in this field, I meant to say. I said, well, you know, you should basically lay down the law and say, no foul language under my roof. And he goes, yeah, I did that. And you know what? I felt like my dad. I'm like, well, that's the price of parenthood. But the price of parenthood is growing prohibitive. Did that make any sense? Did I slide through those words a little too quickly? The fertility rate hit its lowest level at 1.62 births per woman. The 100-year peak, 3.7 births per woman in the 1950s. Now we're down to 1.62. 3.7 versus 1.62. Yes, and there's no such thing as 0.62 or 0.7 of a person, but this is just what you call statistics.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And the fun of statistics and how statistics are so statistical and numbers, and they don't have any human involvement except when they're about humans, but then they're very detached from humans. Hello, human. The podcast picture is not of a human, but of a cool little valley in podCastro Valley. And it's a nice little tree right there, and no humans in this picture, just trees and plants. See this picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. I went to this particular spot with the late great Basil the Boxer a couple of times, and he's barking at you right now. So yes, go to mikesdailypodcast.com and check it out. I make that website. I pay for it. It's all mine. Not affiliated with anyone. So there you go. Lots of podcast pictures of Basil on there too. 47% of childless adults are unlikely to ever have children. The average, that's pretty much, well, I'm thinking that's pretty much my lot in life, is not to have kids, but I'm okay with that. I am going to use my extra free time to help out all those parents out there that have no free time. I'm going to try to help out the community, help the people in my community, people around the world, my fellow humans. The average family will spend $310,000 to raise a child through the age of 17. That comes out to $18,000 a year. This does not include college. The annual child care costs average about
the word of dog.
Oh yes, the word of dog. This doesn't even figure into the dogs, how much they cost. But annual child care costs, somebody else watching your kid, not you, averaged $11,582 per child in the year of our Lord, 2023. Last year, if you're listening to this in 2024. Parents spent 24%, that was profound. Speaking of 24, parents spent 24% of their annual income on child care last year. Yes, 24%, just about a quarter of what they earned. Childcare can be more than tuition at a public university. Housing is another area where would-be parents are feeling the pinch. The median sale price of a home was $422.
Mike's Matthewsman Park.
The front panel will close automatically. Please remain seated at all times.
Yes, it's a Matthewsman Park of interesting knowledge and data. But yeah, the median sale home price in the month of July was $422,600, almost $500,000. The median price is now nearly 5 times the median income, up from 3 times. It was 3 times the median income. Guess what decade? 1990s? Nope. 80s? Nope. The 70s. Yeah. What? You know, the 70s. When everybody smoked. And everybody had interesting hair. And there's a lot of hairspray around. And a lot of polyester. Rush hour is not what it used to be. The traditional American 9 to 5 has shifted. It's gone from 9 to 5 to 10 to 4. 25 or 6 to 4. Yeah. That. 2023 Global Traffic Scorecard of INRIX Inc., also known as coffee badging, the habit of only going to work for a few hours a day. You go in, you use your badge to get in. The computer, the main computer mainframe has clocked you, says, okay, Mike came in today. You have a cup of coffee, talk to some people, and leave. I've seen that. It's a true thing. Coffee badging. Not to be confused with honey badgers. Because a honey badger does what it wants. But more than half, yes, 58% of hybrid employees admitted to checking in at the office and then promptly checking out. More than half, 58%. So I'm probably talking to one of y'all. Commuters have all but given up on public transportation. I'm absolutely perfectly fine with that as we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in PodCastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica, with all these interesting topicas. I took Bart recently when I went to see the Oakland Ballers perform there in West Oakland. Anyway, they have a shuttle, not a shuttle bus, but a shuttle van, a white van that comes and picks you up. And it's not driven by B.A. Baracus. That was a A-Team reference. And they pick you up. Very nice lady named B picks you up. And it's for the Oakland Ballers, also known as the Bees. Because Oakland also had the A's. Now they're about to leave. But yes, it was a fun time. But I did notice a lot of people on BART. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I thought, wow, a lot of people are still...
Mike's out of left field recordings.
Yeah, what? Huh?
Recording everything captures actions that will never again be repeated.
Oh, you know what? These are my out of left field recordings. Any recording I make is slightly out of left field, but yes, I will tell you now. I had a wonderful time at the Ballers. And I had a good time on BART overall, except it still stunk of pot, and there was still plenty of unhoused. Although I did see some BART police come by, or I don't know if they were BART police, or what do they call them? The human interaction relations. I guess they're HR walking around in uniform on the BART. At any rate, they're ushers. I don't know. They tell people to get off the BART if they're unhoused. I saw that happen. So BART's trying to do something, it would appear, or at least I witnessed one of the times they were trying to do something on a weekday. And it was in the evening, too, probably about 9 o'clock.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
Thank you. Yes, that's what we're doing. So commuters have all but given up on public transportation, and ridership sank during the pandemic, and it has never fully recovered. Witness, if you go by any BART station, there's generally all kinds of parking in the parking lot. That did not ever happen pre-pandemic. Parking lots for BART were a madhouse. And Bart loved that. They kept hiking the price every year. Another dollar, another dollar, another dollar. And cars get broken into in those parking lots. They are not safe. I'm telling you from experience and from several anecdotal things I've seen as someone and heard as I've lived here in PodCastro Valley. So it was a slap back to Bart thinking they owned the world. They owned the place. They ruled the roost. That, hey,
we have to win all the things! All the things! We are warriors!
No, Bart. Bart, you cannot have all the things. Sorry. You cannot have all my money. Sorry. That was the wonderful, was Dwight from The Office. And her name is something with a Pringle. Becky Pringle. Thank you. Okay. Back to this fascinating thing about transportation. The result is there's a surge in traffic congestion. That's the unfortunate thing. More people are in their cars. They went through that whole thing of, oh my gosh, there's COVID on the trains. Oh my gosh, there's homeless on the trains. Oh my gosh, there's pot. Too much danky, icky pot stink everywhere. Stank. So the traffic congestion throughout the peak midday and evening hours has surged.
Mr. President, are you suggesting President Biden's using cocaine?
I don't know what he's using, but that was not, hey, he was higher than a kite. And by the way, it was the worst address I've ever seen. State of the Nation. I'll tell you, State of the Union, that's not State of the Union because he doesn't represent us properly. That I can tell you.
Has Trump ever taken coke? Has he done the coke? I mean, I don't think anyone's asked him. Nobody in the left-wing legacy media, corporate media, has asked him, even though corporate media is out to get him with every fiber of their being. Gosh. And the thing is, when he wins, if he wins, they'll still say that. They say this and that about him. There is just no shutting up the person that hates media, which is like hating the sky. It's all around you. There's all kinds of media. People are getting media from all kinds of different sources. They're not just watching ABC. They're not just watching CNN, Fox. They're not. They're getting it from multiple sources. And if a particular person, if you show me a person who isn't, I will show you a person who's easily persuaded to do
the Fascinating Material Project. FM Project.
That's my fascinating material for today. I think people, with all these choices, it's like you're in a smorgasbord. That's a Swedish word. Or Norwegian or something. Scandinavian. It's like you're in a candy store. There's all these things to choose from. You don't think people aren't fickle? They're going to move around? Find something echo chambery for them or not? I don't know. Something to challenge them? The choices are there for them. It's not just Hearst's papers.
A fine article.
You silly, great, fat article.
A silly, fat article. A fine article in one of William Randolph Hearst's papers. 50% of employees say they are not engaged. There is still the rise of quiet quitting going on. Yeah, that happened. And people actually did quit because there were so many jobs in abundance. This was like 2 years ago, post-COVID, but now that has not happened. The unemployment rate didn't they revise it? Oh, no. That was the amount of jobs there are. Available jobs? I forget what that was. But anyway, not engaged or actively disengaged employees account for $1.9 trillion in lost productivity nationwide. Are you quiet quitting? The thing is, I can't.
Woo!
I mean, what happens when I get into my job is so many things get thrown at me. I don't have time to sit there and go, well, it's the same thing as yesterday, because it's not. It's not the same thing as yesterday. And I guess Some people like the same thing as yesterday. I like it a little bit of different things happening every day. My job requires a lot of interaction with a lot of people. I've worked in a type of radio job where you don't interact with anybody at all through the whole shift. And that's security guard time. That's when you're sitting there just watching a particular area, and it's just your eyes and trying to stay awake and all that. I don't know if I can do that. We
love you, Mike.
It might be way better money, but designer dorm rooms. To make their rooms feel homier, students will shell out $87 billion this year. That comes out to $1,365,000 a student. Blowing money on their dorm, which are just, I know, which you're just going to tear it all down and throw it away anyway. That's a big jump from the $48 billion they spent a decade ago. Some students are hiring interior designers for $10,000 to make their rooms extra Instagrammable, which says two things to me. Instagram is still pertinent in today's world, still relevant. TikTok hasn't completely knocked it out. And it says that these people don't realize, these fine people in the dorm rooms, that spending $10,000 on a interior designer. I need to get a job as an interior designer as well as a security guard, is what I'm thinking. But they are not seeing that they could have put that $10,000 away and used it when they get out of college, when they're going to need it. Because it takes forever to find a job sometimes. For me, it did. I know a lot of you got jobs right out of college. Lucky you. Investors have a new target, and that is youth sports. We're talking about parents today, and the cost of parenting and drinking all that kombucha to stay healthy, so you'll be a good parent, and you'll be a good example, and you'll stay alive long enough to see your grandkids. I watched a famous documentary that's been on PBS many times. It's now free to see on YouTube. They just released it. It is called Soul Food Junkies. And it's all about how in the black community, soul food is such a cultural, it's such a cornerstone. So much of the culture. It's like me with all the German heritage, bratwurst, sauerkrauts. That's part of my upbringing. But it's so bad for you. I mean, the sauerkraut's actually pretty good for you.
Magnification.
It's a probiotic. But the bratwurst, ugh. And then in the soul food world, it's ribs and chicken, and you save the bacon grease and you reuse it. Oh, it never spoils. Oh, but it hardens your arteries, and you die, and you get all the congestive heart failure and the peripheral artery disease, to where you lose your feet and your legs and all of that crazy stuff, like what happened to my mom, although she did not
You will travel into the incredible universe.
She didn't eat that kind of food. She actually pretty much starved herself willingly because she didn't want to ever be fat. And she smoked because she never wanted to be fat. She thought that smoking would keep her thin. But in the end, it did a number on her arteries. And she lost a leg because of it. So, yeah. We got to be careful with what we put in our system is what I'm saying. So youth sports, back to youth, the youth of today, all the bright promise, opportunity that lay before them. Before they.
The cutting corners corner.
The cutting corners corner. Oh, okay. So if you want to cut corners, I guess don't go to college. But it says with money flowing by the billions into pro and college sports, U.S. families spend more than $30 billion annually on youth sports, buying into everything from the sports teams to the various businesses, ranging from facilities to coaches to media and merchandise. It is big, big industry. Now, I don't mean to say don't pay for college. I mean, it'd be nice to get a scholarship. Don't go to college. No, I wouldn't say that. But
Magnification.
Yeah, really think about what it is you're going to learn, what you want to learn. And sometimes taking a job you never thought you would want to take a job, maybe experiment, see if you like it. Maybe you'll find a whole career out of it that you never knew. I know a guy who's into the investment world, and he helps people's portfolios, and he started out as a cook. So, hey, making those job changes is not shouldn't be something you're afraid of. But don't apply here. Hiring.
Hey kids, it's me. Do-Re-Mi the clown.
Okay, be a clown if you want. You can take that position as a clown. Maybe that's something that. But traveling on the circus, that can be really tiring. I don't know. Maybe it's got benefits. But don't apply here. Hiring projections for the class of 2024 were down 6% from last year. Meanwhile, boomers, they've stopped retiring. They're unretiring. They're coming out to work as well. So jobs. People want jobs. Beetlejuice. The sequel to Beetlejuice. Get it? It's the word Beetlejuice twice. And if you say it the third time, he shows up. Hello, everyone. Wasn't that the best Michael Keaton impression I've ever... It's ginormously fantastic, that impression. So yeah, that movie hitting theaters, and yes, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the nostalgia will bring a lot of people in, but I'm thinking, I'm glad that one guy isn't in there. The one that is
Magnification.
Oh, Catherine? Is it Catherine O'Hare, the gal from, let's say, Splits Creek? That lady, she was in the original, and then her husband. I think it's her husband in that one. He was also the principal in Ferris Bueller. I think it's Jeffrey Jones or something. Tim Burton liked to use him. He was also in Ed Wood. Bad. Don't look up. If you want to look up his story, there's some bad news and things that surround him. He not the greatest model citizen, but it was weird. I did see him once as I was coming down an escalator at the Orange. It's called the Block on the Orange. There next to the farmers market in Los Angeles, and he was having lunch outside in this outdoor cafe with this lady. And I'm going down the escalator going, oh, wow, that's that guy. That's that guy who's got all the... He doesn't mind walking around in public. I don't know how many people come up to him and say, you're a jerk. But I left him alone, so... And if you're going to be eating all that really bad theater food, the weight loss drugs, Ozempic and Wegovy, they are out there for people that eat badly and want to lose weight and want to get their weight down. They apparently cut their the COVID-19 deaths by 33%. That's a pretty big number. The study finds health benefits beyond the reduction of heart attacks and strokes is what they're also attributing to the good things that Ozempic and Wegovy do. But what are you going to do? Let's see. Are you going to take that drug and then when you stop taking it, you get fat again? That's the question. Or are you going to try and do something that's a little bit better, get into good habits, good eating habits, get away from well, you can eat a healthy type of soul food. In Alameda County, actually right across from Alameda in the Jack London Square area, there, I don't know if it's still there. It was called Solely Vegan, and I never tried it, but there is the concept of being able to take some of those foods like collard greens, like chicken, instead of deep frying it in fat and everything, you just use George Foreman grill, maybe. That's a thought. But you've probably thought about these things too. Do you know who hasn't thought about these things? This person right here. Let's say hi to this particular great person that I know you will love to talk to because they are here. And that's important. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, Gift Supervisor. I don't eat any kind of food that's bad for me, Mike Matthews. That's why I like to buy a lot of eggs and turn them into snow globes. Yeah, you have snow globes that have been made out of eggs. Don't know exactly if that seems to break a couple laws. maybe I'll break a couple eggs and make them an omelet, Mike Matthew. That would be wonderful. Thank you. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. All of that was really fascinating stuff, and we learned a lot today. And I just want to tell you that Dishwalla was a underrated band from the 90s. Hey, they were from Santa Barbara. I remember that. Everybody's like, hey, look, a Santa Barbara band got popular, just like Toad the Wet Sprocket. And all the young people said, who? I mean, the young people today said, who? Young people then, they knew who they were. They were listening. But thank you for listening. If you would like to call in and contribute in any way to the podcast, here is the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with more ways to reach me. Was that even English? And with more ways to reach me, we go to the main frame and hear from A Frame, all things Mike's Daily Podcast. Thank you.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.